Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Today I wanted to test out a bunch of new drugstore makeup releases. I filmed a video the other day kind of doing a haul and swatches, so if you guys want to check that out, I'll link it in the description box below. But I was planning on trying everything out, so I figured I would sit down and film it and let you guys know how it goes. I'm planning on doing an update video in about a week or two, letting you guys know which products worked for me, which ones didn't. But for today's video, I thought it would just be fun to sit down and play with some makeup. So let's jump into it. I'm just going to kick things off with the Milani Fruit Fetish Lip Oil. This one is in Strawberry Melon. I love this. I have used this a few times already, but it's just such a perfect formula. It has a hint of color. It's not too intense, but it definitely stays in place a little bit longer than a few other lip oil formulas I've tried before. So let's start with the base. I picked up this primer. I'm so excited to try it. It's the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is supposed to be a gel-based primer that smooths your skin while gripping your makeup. It is fragrance-free and oil-free, which I think is the difference because they do have two primers that are kind of like this, the Jelly Pop and then also the Mint Melt Primer. So I'm curious to know what the difference is between this one and those other two. I love those other two. The Jelly Pop Primer has actually been my go-to primer, but it does have a very strong watermelon scent, so I think that might be the difference. If you prefer an unscented primer, you might like this one better. I think this one has a little bit more of a smooth quality to it. It feels a little bit tacky, but not quite as tacky as the other two. So I'm curious to see if it's going to lock my makeup into place as well as the Jelly Pop or the Mint Melt. So I'll be using the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation. I have two shades. I have 030 Neutral Sand, which is a little bit too dark, so I actually recently ordered 04 Neutral Porcelain. I'm just going to mix them together. For the brush, I'm just using the e.l.f. Putty Primer Applicator, which was designed to apply the putty primer, but I love using it as a foundation brush. I'll list all of the brushes that I use in the description box if you guys are curious. I still remember trying this foundation last year, I think around this time for the first time, and I just fell in love with it. It's still one of my favorites. My mom actually texted me the other day and was asking for a little bit more of a full coverage foundation, and I recommended this one, and she was like, wow, it's so inexpensive. And I was like, it is, but it performs like a high-end foundation. I just love it. I will say that I have been wearing some lighter coverage products lately, but again, when I'm testing a new primer and a new powder, I want a foundation I know will stay in place well. That way, if it doesn't last on my skin by the end of the day, I know it's due to the primer or the powder. But this is going on really nicely on top of this e.l.f. primer. There is no patchiness. Sometimes with these gripping primers, when you wear foundation on top, the foundation can look a little bit uneven. That's not the case with this one. It looks really good under this foundation. I don't know how it's already the middle of January. January has been so crazy. We just have a couple of different things going on in January, which I'll probably share in an upcoming video once the details are all worked out. But I feel like this new year is just going by so fast already. Life has been a little bit crazy. Whenever a new year rolls around, I can never remember the date, the day of the week, and I feel like that has been the case since January 1st. Even the year, I think I keep saying 2021 in my videos. Here's how the foundation looks. It's a little bit light. I probably should have only mixed in just a small amount of Neutral Porcelain. I kind of went half and half with them, and they're pretty different. In the bottle, they don't look that different. So here's Neutral Porcelain, here's Neutral Sand. I mean, Neutral Sand is definitely darker, but I thought mixing them together would be like the perfect combo, but it should come together in the end once I apply the rest of my makeup. For concealer, I don't have a new one, so I'm just going to use the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I have the shade Light Vanilla. So I do have a new powder to try out that I'm excited about. This is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Powder. ColourPop had powders a while ago, and then I think they discontinued them. So I think they might have reformulated. They didn't really work for me in the past, I will say that. So I'm kind of curious to see how this one works. I'm filming this video a little bit early. There's actually not any info out about this product yet. I got it in the mail as PR, so I figured I would try it in today's video. I just got it yesterday. This video is going up a few days after I film it, so it should be available by the time it goes up, so if it is, I'll link it in the description box. Anyway, here's what the powder looks like. It comes in this plastic compact. When you open it up, there is a mirror. Mine still has the sticker on it. And then here's the powder, and then it does come with a little sponge that actually sits right on top nicely. So this is the shade Fair 4, and then this one is Light 6. So they're not too different, they're just a little bit different. I think I'll go in with Fair 4 under the eyes. So I'm just going to apply it on this brush. Okay, it is a powdery powder. And then I'm just going to lightly tap it under the eyes. Like I said, there's not a lot of info out about this product, So I don't know if it's supposed to have, you know what? The package that I got probably came with an insert, I just realized. I think I might have thrown that away. So we'll just go for it and see how it works. So this definitely has color to it. I mean, it does come in quite a few different shades. So there is pigment for sure. So on the skin, it definitely looks like a matte powder. It doesn't really have any luminosity to it. It mattified the area. It looks good. It looks really smooth. I'm just going to take a little bit more and like gently sweep it, but you can see the difference between this side and this side. This side still has like a little bit of a natural finish from the concealer and the foundation, and this side and between my brows is mattified. So I'm just going to do the same thing on the other eye. It looks really nice. So in the past, I'm just going over my nose too. In the past when I had tried the ColourPop powder, it looked a little bit dry on my skin and I didn't feel like it did anything for me, but this looks really good. I've actually been using this Real Techniques 048 brush to apply powder. It's nice because it just presses the powder into the skin rather than like dusting it everywhere. I feel like that can be a little bit much. And this just allows me to have more of a targeted application. Okay, my camera cut out, but I was pretty much done applying the powder. I think it looks so good on the skin. It definitely looks matte. So if you have dry skin or normal skin and you prefer more of a natural finish, this probably is not going to be the powder for you. I didn't even go in with the sponge to get like the most coverage I could. I just went in with a fluffy brush and really applied it in very specific areas. And then I kind of lightly dusted it over the rest of my face, but it does look really smooth. I used a new cleanser the other day, which did cause my skin to break out a little bit right here and like right here. And I feel like it just looks really smooth, really even. So far so good. I feel like I could really enjoy this. It is a pretty powdery powder, but I don't know, it looks good on my skin. So we'll see how it holds up throughout the day. Well, it's currently 3 o'clock, so I'm not planning on doing like a full end of the day check-in. I feel like, you know, with a baby now, I'm just not able to sit down right at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock and film a video. I have to kind of get it in when I can, but I will come back and update you in a week or two and let you know for sure. So next on my list, I want to try out a new brow product. This is the NYX Thick It Stick It Thickening Brow Mascara, and I have the shade Espresso. I wear Espresso in all of their brow products, so this comes in 8 shades. It's a tinted thickening brow mascara that's supposed to have 16-hour wear. It's a buildable formula, so it actually has plant-based fibers in it. I did wear this last night just for like an hour. I was getting ready to wash my makeup off, so I was playing around with makeup, which is what I typically do at night if I have time. And it felt really promising. So the wand is pretty big. I feel like that's probably going to be the one con for me. I usually like a little bit of a smaller wand because I feel like you can get a more precise application, but if you have thicker brows, you might actually prefer a bigger wand because it won't take as long to apply the product. So what's nice about this is it is tinted, but like I said, it has those fibers in it, which just kind of cling onto your brows and make them look a little bit thicker. This kind of reminds me of the e.l.f. Wow Brow Gel, which I do love so much, but as I was kind of playing around with it yesterday, this one almost felt a little bit more buildable. So that's just like a light layer of the product. You can layer it up though. Like this product actually grabs onto itself really nicely. I'm just trying to be careful so I don't make too much of a mess, but I just kind of comb upwards into my brow. Look at the difference. Like if you're in a hurry and you don't have the time to sit down and do a full brow routine, a product like this is so nice. And it dries so quickly. Like this one looks really natural in the brows because sometimes brow gels have like a very shiny finish. It's just this front part I always have a hard time with. But this one has like a nice matte finish. I mean, it almost looks natural. So for me, I like to apply the brow gel before I go in and fill in my brows because it really does all the work for you. And then you just have to go in and touch them up a little bit. So let me do this on this brow too. This brow is like my problem brow. I always have a harder time with this one. I'm honestly so impressed with this brow gel. I'm excited about it because I feel like it's just going to be a great everyday option. So I'm going to let my brows dry for just like a minute or two, and then I'm going to go in and fill them in a little bit more with the Urban Decay Brow Blade. While I'm waiting for them to dry, I'm just going to use the ColourPop Party Proof Eye Primer. So I have the shade Translucent. They have a couple of different shades. I've really been enjoying this one, and I'm just going to prep my eyes for eyeshadow. This reminds me a lot of the Urban Decay Primer Potion. If you like that formula, this is definitely a good alternative. For eyeshadow, I'm keeping it pretty simple. I just got this e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow palette in I Love You a Latte. I did use this one other time, and it just worked so nicely. So I wanted to use it today to show you how you could get like a quick and easy smoky eye. So I'm just going to go in with the lightest shade to set my eyeshadow primer. This is an e.l.f. brush. It is the Eyeshadow C brush. And this color is perfect. So when I saw this, I was excited because a lot of the eyeshadow palettes I use don't have a shade like this, and I always go in with a shade like this just to set my eyeshadow primer into place before I go in with anything else. For the longest time, I was using this single shadow from Wet n Wild, and then eventually I used it up, so I would just kind of reach for like a random palette. I think the Nude Mood palette from ColourPop has a shade like this, where I would mix two shades together, but it's just nice to have like this little $3–4 option. And then it has a couple of other shades that I would typically use as transitions. I've been using that dark shade as like a smoky liner. So it's been really, really nice. And this formula is just so good. Let me actually just keep going with the eyes and then I'll come back and finish the brows. So I'm going to take this shade right here. It's like the cooler toned lighter brown. And I'm just going to apply it all over this brush and lightly blend it into the crease. These shadows look so well blended when you use them, which is what I love because it's a quick and easy way to do your eyeshadow. I love eyeshadow so much, but these days I haven't been doing it quite as much. Usually I'm in a hurry when I'm doing my makeup because I posted this on Instagram the other day, but the one thing, well, I won't say the one thing, there are probably quite a few things. One thing I was not prepared for when it came to parenthood is just how long it takes to get out the door with a baby. Brady and I were the type of people that always ran late anyway. It was always just this frantic race to get out the door when it was just the two of us. And then of course now that there's a baby, it's even more crazy because right when we're ready to go, we either need like a diaper change or an outfit change, or we'll be in the car and we'll realize we forgot the diaper bag or something ridiculous like that. So I feel like I always try to be ready like 20 minutes early, and then that usually ensures that I'm on time or maybe even 5 minutes late. But because of that, I'm usually just not taking the time to do like really intricate eyeshadow looks, and I miss them. I'm sure I will get back to it. And there are days where I will take the time, which I always appreciate those days when I just have like an extra few minutes. But something like this is just perfect for every day, whether you don't have the time or you just don't want to take the time to do your eyeshadow, because some people don't want to sit down and do a really intense eyeshadow look. But as you can see, it just blends out so perfectly. It's so smooth and even on the eyes. So let me just finish this eye and then I'll be right back. Next, I'm just going to take the deepest shade in here and I'm going to blend that into the outer corner and then up into the crease as well. And I'm just going to darken things up. So I am going to go for a little bit more of a smoky look today, just like a quick smoky look, which is why I love this quad so, so much. So how is your 2022 going so far? I was so surprised. I asked on Instagram like how many people make resolutions or goals for the new year, and I just put like a poll up, and most people said they did not do that. I don't remember the exact numbers. When I checked, I think it was like 70–30, 70% of people saying they weren't into resolutions or goals for the new year. I usually do make some goals, not a lot. I'll usually sit down and write out like a list of 3 things. I didn't really do that this year. I feel like the new year just kind of, it happened so quickly and then I didn't really think about it. And my husband Brady usually will make some too, but he was like, I'm not doing it this year. But I would love to know what you guys are working on. If you make any goals for the new year, you don't have to wait for the new year to make goals. You can really make goals at any point in time, but I think sometimes it is nice just to set some new goals or intentions at the beginning of a new year if you are feeling motivated. Okay, let me do the other eye and I'll be right back. I am going to use a Super Shock shadow all over the lid. So I typically love to wear a shimmer all over the lid, so I feel like this quad is perfect for kind of building the look. And then I'll usually use a Super Shock shadow. So this one is a little Quarky. ColourPop just re-released a couple of their original shades and then also came out with some new ones. And this was one of my favorites back in the day. Look how pretty it is. It's such a beautiful, intense shimmer. I think they go on nicely, they stay in place well, and they layer really nicely on top of powder, so you can build your whole look with powder shadows if that's what you like, and then just go in with a pop of shimmer on the lid. I'm just going to take this brush with no extra product on it and just kind of run it in the outer corner and the crease, just to define that a little bit better. Covergirl recently released a couple of new products. This is the Exhibitionist Lash Enhancing Liquid Liner. So I did try this one other time. It's supposed to apply really smoothly, very evenly, and then stay in place really well. So it is a felt tip liner, and my issue with felt tip liners has always been that they are difficult to apply. Like sometimes they kind of drag across the lid. This goes on really smoothly. It almost applies like a brush tip liner, but You know what? I don't think I can do this and talk at the same time. Let me explain it and then I'll show you a clip of me applying it. It almost applies like a brush tip liner. It's like a super saturated liner, so it's definitely dark and dramatic as soon as you touch it to your eye. I don't know that it's completely long wearing or smudge proof because I didn't actually test that aspect, so I will do that to see if it's a waterproof eyeliner, a smudge proof eyeliner, and keep you posted, but I have to say it goes on so easily. It just glides on the eye. So I'm just going to apply some shadow to my lower lash line, then I'll do mascara and finish up the brows. So I'm just going to go in with this shade first and then this shade. I'm just going to lightly blend this on the lower lash line to tie everything together. Actually, before I go in with the darker shadow, I'm just going to apply a little bit of eyeliner. This is the LA Girl Shockwave Metallic Liner in the shade Brown Sugar. It's just a really pretty smoky toned brown. So I'm just going to apply this to my waterline and then a little bit on the lower lash line because I'll smudge it out with a little bit of eyeshadow. So now I'll just take a little bit of that darker brown and just kind of blend it all together just to create a little bit more of a smoky look. I just wiped off the rest of the lip oil because it was pretty much coming off. I'm just going to apply a little bit of lip gloss in the meantime. This is from NYX. It's the This Is Juice gloss, and I have the shade Passion Fruit Snatch. So it's a very clear gloss. I feel like I just need something on my lips until I actually go in and do them. Let me finish the brows. So I'm actually going to take the ink stain side first and just kind of draw on a couple of hair-like strokes just to define the brow a little bit more, and then I'll go in with the pencil. The NYX Brow Tint Pen would actually be perfect for this, but I used mine up and I did not repurchase it. So now I'm just going to go in with the brow pencil and just lightly define the bottom and then just kind of pull it out a little bit more. For mascara, I'm going to be using the Covergirl Exhibitionist. This one is the Stretch and Strengthen Mascara. So this is what the wand looks like. This one is supposed to do a good job at lengthening your lashes, also giving you volume. And then I guess it has like lash enhancing properties to it too, which we won't be able to see today, but we'll see how this applies. There are a lot of new drugstore mascara releases, and I'm kind of curious to try them out because for like the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, maybe longer, I've only been using the Essence Lash Princess Curl and Volume. That one is my go-to. Here's the initial coat. I feel like it looks okay. It doesn't really look like anything special. I don't know. I'm having a hard time kind of like grabbing onto each lash and building it. I feel like if I don't get a good initial layer, it's kind of hard to build it up to look a little bit more dramatic. I'm really not in love with the mascara. I feel like it looks fine. It definitely gave me length, but it was kind of difficult to apply, difficult to build up, and it just didn't feel good. It felt very scratchy on the eyes, which I didn't like. So I will try it out a few more times, see how it actually wears throughout the day. But so far, it's definitely not going to be like one of my top mascaras. Let me apply some cheek products. I'm going to be using this Flower Beauty Heatwave Luminous Bronzer. I have this in my collection and I haven't used it yet. I do have another shade of this one, which is a little bit more warm toned. This one is Sunrise. So this one's pretty cool toned. I feel like it goes with my makeup look. My foundation is just a little bit too light still. I definitely applied too much of the lighter one. So I don't know how much this one's actually going to bronze up my skin tone because it's still pretty light and pretty cool toned, but I feel like it goes with the eye look. I actually feel like that bronzed up my skin more than I thought it was going to. I just went in with a little bit, but I'm going to stop there because I don't want to go overboard. In fact, I'm just going to go over everything with a fluffy brush. Okay, I just took a quick break. I am back. I just applied a little bit of concealer to that freckle on my nose and then applied a little bit of powder to blend it in. Let me apply the cheek product. No. Let's do the lips and then the cheeks. So for the lips, I want to try out one of these e.l.f. glossy lip stains. I really want to wear this deeper shade. This one is called Berry Queen. I am going to apply a lip liner first. So this is the LA Girl Shockwave Nude Lip Liner in the shade Rosewood. These lip liners are so good. They're creamy. They stay in place well. So this is what I normally use before I go in with lipstick. But part of me thinks I should skip the lip liner to see how well the actual lip product wears without liner. Let me just outline like the outside of my lips and then I'll use the lip product for the rest, or the e.l.f. lip stain for the rest. It looks kind of weird. I just applied it to the outside, but I'm curious to know how well this actually stains the lips. So this will help me actually see what the color looks like throughout the day. So I'm just going to apply it right on top. Ooh, it's a pretty color. Okay, you know what? This isn't super pigmented. All right, let me just keep going with it. Because it's not super pigmented, I feel like you can really see the liner underneath. So without the liner, you would get more of like a sheer wash of color. So I almost feel like a lip stain like this needs a liner underneath. But as I kind of spread it on, it did even out a little bit more. So let me just apply this a little bit more precisely. Okay, this is how it looks. It looks really good. When I initially started applying it, I thought it was going to be too sheer, just because you could actually see the eyeliner or the lip liner underneath, but it did come together. So it's buildable to an extent. I think it looks really pretty because it does have a glossy sheen. It's definitely comfortable, but it's not overly glossy. I will say the color is pretty. If this will stay in place, I will be so excited. For blush, I should have used the Milani Cheek Kiss Cream Blush Palette. I thought this was new when I purchased it, but I guess it's been out for a few months, like 5 months at this point, so it's not brand new. I will say this swatches lighter than their other Cheek Kiss Cream blushes. Those are super intense. This is a little bit more subtle, so I do think it's a different formula. I did apply a little bit of powder on my cheeks, but I think I might still try to apply just a little bit of this. So I think I'll go in with this shade, and we'll see if it goes on nicely on top of powder. I try not to apply cream blush on top of powder too often, but we'll see. So I just took a small amount. Yeah, it's going on nicely. Okay, so when I swatched these, they were super light. And as I'm applying it, it's pretty light. I did tap off some on the back of my hand, but I would say it has better pigment than I thought it was going to based on the swatches. Wow, that went on really nicely on top of powder too. I'll just apply a little bit to this side as well. I'm more of a subtle blush fan. I don't typically love blush that's super intense, so that's why the cream, or what are they called? The Cheek Kiss cream blushes, like the original formula, can sometimes be a little bit much for me. And I even, like, this is even a lot for me. So I feel like over here is like the perfect amount. It's just like a very subtle flush. I'm just going to go over this a little bit, but that looks really pretty. I'm still getting used to cream blushes. I feel like they can be a little bit intimidating for me as someone who prefers powder products, but that just gives my face like a very, very subtle flush, and it went on nicely. So I'll keep trying this out, but so far so good. For highlighter, I'm just going to be using this one from Beauty Pie. It's their Pro Glow Highlighter Illuminating Powder in the shade Knockout Gold. It's a pretty intense highlighter, so I'm just going to take a super small amount just right here on the top of my cheek to kind of tie things together. And I am going to take some of this on the inner corner too. I'm going to layer it up right here. It's so funny because I mentioned in a video, like, one old school makeup trend that some people might consider out of style that I like to do is still highlight the inner corner. And a ton of you guys said that you do it too. It just completes the look. I love it so much. I don't think I'll ever give up my inner corner highlight. Okay guys, this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I feel like as far as my makeup goes, it looks really good. The complexion looks really good. So I do think the e.l.f. primer is going to be really promising. I love the ColourPop powder. I feel like my skin still looks really smooth, very even. The eyeshadow palette is great. The only thing that I'm unsure about is maybe the Covergirl mascara, and we'll see about the lip stain. I do feel like it's almost bleeding a little bit already, and it's lost a little bit of that glossy sheen, but we'll see how it wears throughout the day. Like I said, I'll come back in about a week or two and update you on the products, let you know what worked, what didn't, after I get the chance to try everything out a little bit more thoroughly, pair it with a couple of different products. I also have some other drugstore products I want to try out, so I'll probably end up doing another one of these videos very soon within the next week or two. So anyway, thanks for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you very soon with a new one. Bye.